I'm here to talk to you again about some evidence I've found and the meaning of the evidence. I've talked to you about it before in the hopes that you would take it seriously. It's been hard to find anyone to take it seriously, and I don't really understand why. I was a medical library clerk in 1984 under the administration who created the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The control tower in question had used a nerve agent on me as a child. After taking me to the original cast performance of the Broadway musical Hair. This may give you some idea of why I am such a haunted person. Having seen the first documents about AIDS during the hot rhetorical environment of Reagan, whose name I knew from Joan Baez's denunciation at Woodstock. I heard her perform as a child at Point State Park, shortly after the arrest of her husband on draft evasion charges. Law enforcement has ignored the following information, and I believe that implicates the U.S. government in authorship of the AIDS attack. Releasing it along with a shrill media character assassination aimed not only at a generation, but very specifically at me, on whom they had planted the Texas school book, thinking of me, as one of them, Stephen Langer, said, as the last one, meaning the last liberal. It was aimed at victims in a calculated, planned, premeditated way. One reason I find all of this very suspicious and haunting are the circumstances under which this evidence was found. Another is what the evidence contains. There's also no way that decades of evasion about this material and its content can be innocent. You cannot and must not, as citizens of the United States of America or concerned foreign observers, expect them to stop and reflect on what I'm saying at this late date. You must not pretend that the evidence isn't exactly what it is. These letters contain a reference to the murder of Martin Luther King on Dee Dee's birthday. 6 years ago today, it says, Martin Luther King was shot. Coincidences happen a lot today. Dee Dee's sister was named Neva Mancine, which is not only like Manson, but it's like cinema of man. And there's a giant pornography corporation known as the Neva Corporation from Japan. Cinema of Man. Neva, it turns out, was the name of the sister of Didi. And their symbol is a C and a Star of David. These people gassed me at a place called King's Estate. And there's been an ongoing persecution of me by Seattle's Green Party, following script as though it wasn't planned, as though it was found. That's like believing that Oswald killed JFK. They're following a plan that was calculated and prepared in cinema. One of their pretenses for this are films they made of me growing up, in which they held me hostage and used me for such enormities as pedophile purposes. They pulled something this sick over and are now masquerading as a prosecuting agency, doing nothing but persecuting. They destroyed an innocent man's life for a concocted race reason, without review of something about which they had no business prying in the first place, in order to fulfill a script and a suspicious, secret persecution of an innocent person. Please keep your race-baiting and illegal war game away from me. Of course, such words have never worked with them. These people are suspicious people who lay in wait for this to transpire and happen. They wanted to succeed. And when you look at these people's history, you discover that the British, who have been lying about all of this, had connections with Adolf Hitler through King Edward. And there were magazines that were coming out. Leading up to the assassination of Kennedy, called the National Police Gazette, where over and over and over again they said and cited evidence that Adolf Hitler was alive, in a tone to suggest that the defeated should have hope. King Edward's aristocracy today is being led by people who have name recognition because of their popular culture. Brian, Peter, George, St. John the Baptist, De La Salle, Eno is one of the inflated persecutors on this headhunt on behalf of the people who did it. I knew one of his deranged pals when I was young, as my father heard the Beatles play. This is all to say I'm highly skeptical of Britain's claims in this matter. They have worked to make this happen relentlessly, without review.